I have no cause for anger or for fear, for you surround me, and in every need that I perceive, your grace suffices me. Today, we're bringing letting go into lesson 348 of the A Course in Miracles workbook. So, I have no cause for anger or for fear, for you surround me. For God surrounds me. God surrounds you. You have no cause for anger or for fear. So as long as there's still an imaginary belief that there's a possible divide between you and that infinite field of love and presence of God, that's where anger and fear comes from. That's also where sin comes from, the belief in sin and guilt. So all these negative emotions have to do with an imagined divide from God's grace, God's presence, from heaven, from the Christ. So to relinquish this belief that there is a separation between you and your Father, then there's no cause to be angry. There's no cause for fear. There's the grace of that presence. So in everything that presence that is at one with you, and everything that God would have you do, His grace is there, and that suffices. So with the letting go, this lesson is about reminding us, hey, you've got God's grace. You're in that infinite field of love. This anger stuff, this fear stuff, this trying to control things separate from Him is unnecessary. Could you let go of valuing what is valueless? These lower frequency attractor patterns called emotions. And could you allow yourself to be in that presence? Could you look to that presence? Which is a great idea, but as long as I'm valuing or imagineering that it's true, that I'm separate from God, then I'm going to continue to imagine some kind of separation, and that maybe fear is a good idea. So today's release, we're going to look at that belief, that positionality that we're separate from God, that you are separate from your Father, and just let go of that positionality if you should so choose, and all of the suffering that comes with it. It's always your choice. One of the best things about this kind of spiritual work is your freedom. It's okay for you to choose what you hang on to and what you let go of. You're not going to be pushed, forced, condemned. You've done enough condemning of yourself already. You've done enough attempting to force yourself already. There's no need for an infinite field of love at one with you to do that. It doesn't even exist there. It seems insane. It is insane to be beating up on yourself and pushing yourself around. So these lessons are not intended to reinforce guilt or claim that it's real and that sin is real. They're not intended to say that you're better if you immediately fall into the awareness of light enlightenment or it takes a little while. It's just you're where you're at, and by your choice, you may proceed. By grace, your grace, you may proceed to relinquish the illusion of separation and be at one with all that is in the atonement. So let's do some letting go. I have no cause for anger or fear. You have no cause for anger or for fear, for God's loving presence is. And in every need that is perceived, that loving presence, that grace takes care of it. Everything is taken care of in God's loving presence here with you. And so, could you experience what it's like? God's loving presence here with you, as you, takes care of everything. What's it like to rest in the grace of divine provision and love? That solid, rock-like, and yet gently exquisite presence of love, provision, that is your name, that is your inheritance. What's there to be angry about? What's there to fear? What's there to beat up on yourself or anyone else about? As that presence is here, that love is here, God's grace is here. You are here, the salvation of the world. The reminder that all suffering is useless. And what could take you out of that field of oneness with God, but an imagination that you are somehow separate? A separate body, a separate mind, an ego. And can you notice if there's any sense that you are separate? And it's okay if that comes up. It's not bad. It's not wrong. It's not good. It's not right. Could you just notice any positionality, any programming that's still running that would claim that you are separate from that infinite love? And it's just a choice to believe that. It's just a choice. Could you let go of valuing this imaginary idea that you could somehow be separate from God? Would you let go of the imaginary idea, the images, the thoughts, the programs, the positionality that you are somehow separate from God? It's just a choice. Could you let go of valuing, believing in, reinforcing any position that you are somehow separate from your Father? You have no cause for anger or for fear, for God surrounds you. And in every need that you perceive, His grace suffices you. And could you experience what it's like to be in of that grace, in and of God as one? Could you experience that? If there's no experience, could you imagine that? Just being at one with God. All things in His grace, which is not separate from yours. And in that field of all that is, that infinite love of God, is there any cause for anger or for fear? And could you notice if there does seem to be any cause for anger or fear, or if that comes up at all, any anger or fear, that it comes with some kind of idea that there's two instead of one? Could you notice any positionality, any belief, any program that's been running that says there's a God out here and there's me over here and there's you over there, and dividing. Has there been any valuing and believing in division, separation, two other than one? And without judging that, without moralizing about it, could you just notice any positionality like that and relinquish it by your free choice, by the will of God? Could you relinquish the belief in division? Would you relinquish the belief in separation, valuing that, claiming it's real? When could you relinquish the loyalty to, the belief in, the pride of that positionality, that somehow you could be separate from God, that there could be two instead of one? And you never have to. There could be a lot of resistance, a lot of hanging on to, some sense that, no, it's really true, Sam. There are 2, 3, 4 millions, infinite divisions. It's not just one. And notice the fear, the anger, the guilt, the pride. All of the ego survival programs rest on this one belief that it's not one, it's many. Could you relinquish the belief in separation and have no cause for guilt, no cause for anger, no cause for fear, no cause for pride. Every cause for love, for happiness, for joy. As you are one with your Father, His grace ever present, not separate, always surrounding you, within you, as one, could you relinquish any valuing ego programs of separation and be free from suffering. God's grace suffices us in everything that He would have us do, and only that we choose to be our will as well as His. Well done releasing, and have the best day, for you have no cause for anger or for fear, as you are His, and He is yours.